first time back, well, obviously being back with Coach Shep, but we were all here together in 23, and today we were talking about, I was like, this rain was nothing compared to 2023 Washington and town. That was the most rain I've ever seen in Corvallis, so it was a special day, but no, this is home, and it's always been home, so it's fun to be back, and with guys on the staff I love. The players are fantastic, and we've got the best head coach in the country, and there's no debate in my opinion. He's the best. So.
Yeah, and just when when this opportunity kind of came across your desk, just what were maybe some of the thoughts that were going through your mind? Any memories that you kind of thought being a Beaver growing up?
No, so I mean, my first game here was probably about a month old in Old Parker Stadium, so I grew up in there, but for me, my whole career has been just following people, and to me, Coach Shep is one of those people you want to follow wherever he goes. And I told him years ago, wherever you go, I'm going. And for me, it happened to be a place that I call home, so I'm super blessed by that and by him. But yeah, every time I'm pulling into work, I'm always thinking about where we used to tailgate or looking out my window to the old seats we used to sit in. So the nostalgia is constant, and it's a good reminder for me every time I step into my office. I'm like, this is a dream. And I think our players kind of feel that off of me. I'm living my dream job, and that's my job to make it enjoyable for everyone. So.
And some of the areas that you kind of wanted to address as soon as you got here, what would those be?
The explosive plays. So we're big on explosive plays, and our last 6 years in the system, specifically the last 4 with Coach Shep, I mean, we've been very explosive on offense. So finding those explosive plays and then finding ways to hold back the negatives, is to hold back the pre-snap penalties, to take away the TFLs and be cleaner on that side of the ball. So we want to be explosive, and we want to be clean on offense. And to me, those things, when you're doing that at a high percentage, you're winning games and finding success.
Yeah, and you work really closely with the quarterbacks. One of them being Malik, who maybe didn't have the year that he wanted last year. Yep. How have you kind of seen him step up and grow under Coach Shepard?
Yeah, so all 3 of them, honestly, all 3 of them in that room are competing. Like, we got a true quarterback competition, which is fantastic. And to me, if you don't have competition in that room, like, that room is eventually going to sink to a level you don't want it to be at. So the competition in that room is phenomenal. He's been great since we got here. He's been great with the quarterbacks, the receivers, been with everybody. So he's grown, I think, in a leadership standpoint, and really all 3 of them have. All 3 have done a great job of being a tight unit. Like, they're competing for a job, but at the same time they want success for the other guy, which is rare. Like, in that position in college football, it's rare to have a group that's tight knit like that, and they hang out, but at the same time they know we got to win games. So it's cool. It's cool for me as a coach to see that and walk into the room with those guys every day.
You kind of be a part of processes where when you first come in, you either have a quarterback you retained, and you've also had a couple where you brought in somebody because you're inheriting a tough situation. Why was Malik staying and inheriting him in a tough situation preferable to going out and bringing somebody in?
Yeah, so the unique thing about it is all 3 of them have played a lot of football. So all 3 have played football. And to me, like, you cannot play quarterback enough. Like, it's not 7-on-7, it's actual football. And playing actual football at our position is in, like, what is needed, because the more snaps you have, the more hits you take. Like, that live football experience, you can't pass it up for anything else. So all 3 of those guys playing football for me is a huge piece of what we're trying to do in the quarterback room, offensively, and how you build a program. Is guys that have played, and that experience is valuable.
Take us into the install process for you. Do you want to have everything in the spring and then reteach it in fall camp? Do you want to have base in now and then get the details of, like, what is your...
Yeah. So for spring, we want to expose them to as much scheme as we can and see what we do well. And once we kind of get into fall camp and that process, we should have an idea of what we do well and what that identity is. Our identity on offense is we're going to be explosive, but when we put those schemes in, it's like, okay, what schemes are going to get us those explosive plays? What is going to have us be efficient majority of the time? Like, the efficiency and the explosiveness is how this offense is going to be built, and that's the success we want to find is through those. So we'll expose them to everything, and then it's kind of on them to show us what they do well. So that's kind of that balance between the two of exposing them to different schemes and different stuff, and then at the same time, what do we do well? So finding that balance is really our goal on offense.
What is your offense? In the modern vernacular to the fans, what would you call it?
It's multiple. So, I mean, we can be 12 personnel, we can be 11 personnel. I mean, we'll shift, we'll motion, we'll do a lot of different things. And for me, it's creating complexity for the defense at the same time of keeping it simple for our guys. And when I talk to our staff and all that stuff is what is simple gets executed. So how do we simplify it for our guys? And and then at the same time, make it a pre-snap problem for them. So for me, it's like finding ways to teach that in a family setting and put stuff into families for kids and so they can pick it up faster and play fast. Because, I mean, you watch a game on a Sunday or a Saturday and you see a guy that's playing slow, he probably is not sure what he's doing. So for us, finding that speed is 100% in your assignment.
How much of this is kind of ported over from Kalen's Alabama, and how much of it is kind of stuff you've had in the bag waiting to install?
Yeah, a little bit of both. Obviously, I've been with Coach DeBoer for 6 years, so I've learned a ton from him and Coach Grubb. And then, I mean, Coach Shep's influence on this offense when he got there in Washington was huge too. So he's a phenomenal offensive mind, and he's great to pop into our meetings and give us his take. And he was around phenomenal offenses at Purdue and Western Kentucky and Washington State. So the marriage of those two, and then obviously having a good staff. I'm with Coach Wallace from Louisville and guys from all over the country. Coach Finn at Colorado State. Coach Marks was at Memphis. So we have a lot of offensive success on our offensive staff, which makes my job easy because they've got good ideas. I've got good ideas, and then it's our job to kind of melt those together. So I can't speak more highly of our offensive staff and the guys we got.
Have you been a sideline or box guy? Have you decided?
I'm a box guy. Yeah, I'm a box guy. Get the best view. You watch film as a coach from that view, so why not call it from that view? So.
And you call plays?
I do. Yep. I'll call plays from the box. We'll have the rest of the guys on the field, and communication will be high, and the quarterback to coach communication is helpful, and all that good stuff.
Is that a first for you since Black Hills?
Say that again.
Is that a first for you since Black Hills?
Yeah. Yep. But been in the box. Been in the box with Coach Grubb in Alabama at Washington the whole way. So the box up here is phenomenal. The box up here is nicer than my apartment in Seattle. It's great square footage. It's fantastic. There's a nice little loft too. I thought about moving in there when my house wasn't ready. So it's a great box. The home box and away box is great. So.
What's the setup for you up there? Are you an energy drink guy? Or are you multicolored pens? How you kind of run the operation?
Kind of depends. I'm a big highlighter guy. See what I've called. The organization piece, I'll have both my call sheets right there. I'll kind of spread out a little bit, and I'll have one of my assistants up there with me doing down and distance, and then I'll have one of my other assistants down on the field with the quarterbacks. So we'll have direct communication there. And that's all it is to me, is the communication to the quarterback and how do we take out the gray areas, coaches, and then obviously the head coach being an offensive guy is super helpful. So he knows exactly what we're talking about and the language we're using, so he can be that final layer of down there with the emotion of it. Like our head coach is emotional and he's into it, he's passionate, and I love that. So I got to be kind of reserved in the best view of taking the emotion out and calling the best play off of what we're seeing.
Over the past 2 years, when this program's had its best success, it's largely been running the ball.
Yep.
It's kind of the identity of organized football. How does that fit with what you want to do? Not that you want to handcuff yourself to the past, but how's that going to look in what you do?
Yeah, no, so to your point, the running game here, the running backs, the offensive line has always been kind of a stamp of Oregon State football, of who they are. And that Oregon State offensive line play, that nastiness is really what I'm looking for. Like, I want aggression. I want physical up front, and at the same time, that explosive play, it doesn't have to be a pass. When I talk explosive play, it can be an explosive run. It's like, okay, how do we block is explosive? If we're pancaking a guy, that's explosive. So that explosiveness comes into running the ball, throwing the ball. At the same time, you have to run the ball to win the game. At some point, you're going to need to run the ball, and those 3rd and 4th and 1s, like, to me, that's a mentality deal. We need to have a mentality. When it's 3rd and 4th and 1, we're converting 100% of the time, because that's who we are as an offensive line, and as an offense, is that aggression is there. So to me, it's always has to be there. Like, I don't want to be finesse. I'm not a finesse guy. Our head coach is not a finesse guy. So that element will always be there for sure.
Where does Cornell fit into that, when just philosophically to have a piece like that who's young but?
Oh, he's fantastic. Yeah, he did a great job on our off-season workouts, and I mean, you turn on the tape last year, and he's 5.2 a carry or whatever it was, and now he's a phenomenal kid, and he's bringing people with him, and to me, that's always the sign of that player that's been in the programs. They start to bring people with when they have the work ethic to match, and he's a phenomenal kid. He's done a great job since we've been here. The running back room is coming with him, and he's been awesome, and he's an explosive player and knows his details, and is a true leader.
What'd you like about Atkinson to go get him out the portal?
Again, the playing piece, he played, he won the Jerry Rice Award, so I mean, as a freshman, I mean, he was 17, 18 years old, playing high-level ball, and his football IQ for being that age is crazy. I mean, he talks like we do as coaches, and he's 18 years old, so, to me, like, those elements as a quarterback is like, the football IQ piece is how you process and how you get through reads faster is guys that have played and guys that see it like that, so. He's a great kid, and Brady Jones, obviously from Western Michigan, is fantastic, and then obviously Malik has played a lot of good high-level football. So all three of them I can't speak more highly of.
Are you comfortable going into a fall with just 4 on the roster, or are you guys maybe looking to add and walk on
Yeah,
this spring?
yeah. We'll go get one more. We'll get one more just again for the health of the room and the competitive elements of the room. But yeah, it'll be a 3-man race, and then we'll probably pick up one more. And again, that competition piece, I mean, for the whole team is good. It's like, that's the beauty of the new staff is there's really no depth chart per se. It's everyone's kind of trying to figure this thing out on the fly, and they got to show us what we can do, and we'll put them in positions to succeed. And when we're looking at what they're doing, it's like, okay, maybe we can try him here. And at practice, we're putting guys in different spots to see where they fit and see what the best fit for our offense is.
What's the trait you're looking for? What's gonna be decisive when you go to make a decision at that quarterback spot?
Yeah, just who can move the ball. I mean, it's not stats. It's like who's putting us in positions to score points. I mean, to me, that's offensive football. Is how do you move the ball down the field? I mean, that's to me, that's the bare bones of it. And the stats will always say something at the end, but at the end of the day, who is getting us in the end zone? Who is leading our offense? Who's getting us in the right play, whether it's a kill or whatnot? And to me, that's a sign of a good quarterback, is a guy that's moving the ball down the field and putting us in positions to score. So that's really how I evaluate it, is who's moving the ball, and you can even feel it when you're out there. It's like whoever's in, if that ball's moving consistently, okay, that's a quarterback. Because I mean, the best quarterbacks are good point guards. They distribute the balls out of their hands, not taking sacks, and that's how it'll be done.
You talked about playing fast. How do you feel incorporating tempo into the offense? Is it kind of huddle every play, or maybe call a few at a time? How does that look like
No,
for you?
it's a great question. So we'll be very multiple in our tempos, and we'll change tempos. That's something we've always done, and it's always been our advantage, is how do we find ways to put the gas and put the pressure on the defense, but at the same time be able to change tempos and change a picture and change a look and shift in motion. That's where we're beyond multiple in that realm, is we can change tempos from one play to the other. We don't get stuck in one thing. So the defense is constantly trying to figure out if we're going fast, if we're shifting in motion, some element of that.
With all you want to get done over 15 practices, what will success look like for you on April 26th? Like when these 15 are done, you'll feel like you've accomplished what you were set out to do?
Yeah, no, I think ideally by April 26th, we kind of have an idea of what we're doing well on offense. So by the time we get to fall camp and into summer and all those things, it's like, okay, these are the schemes we want to really marry into and fall in love with. This is our A run, this is our B run, this is our C run. This is our A pass family, B pass family, C pass family. So we can kind of push the install that way, because again, it's not what I know, it's what they know and what they execute. So that's our job as coaches, is to kind of put our egos aside and see what we execute, and I'll call those ones, because I'm not interested in 2nd and 12. I tell our guys that all the time. It's like, you get me 2nd and 6, I'm good. Like, you show me what scheme can get me to 2nd and 5 or 2nd and 4, and I'll call it. I'll call it again. But yeah, I'm good on 2nd and 12. Thanks.
Great. Thanks, Coach.
Awesome.
Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you so much.